Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. I do my best on this channel. I don't always succeed, but I do my best on this channel to try to show different points of view, different sides of arguments, even when I definitely don't agree. This is going to be one of those times. There's a champion that I think is solid in Battlegrounds for both offense and defense. I use him sparingly, but I still use him. And that is Dragon Man. You got a couple of immunities. You can certainly not want to get cornered. Dragon Man has been a staple of the Mystic class essentially since he was released. And it's been so long, it's hard for me to even remember what month and what year he was released. I just know he's been here for, a while. So that brings us to the forum post that centers around this specific video. Because you see, here's the deal. Sometimes passion can blind us to, forum posts. Thorkey says, I'm calling on Kabam to issue rank down tickets for Dragon Man. For those who don't know the situation, up until the most recent update, Dragon Man had a piece of utility that he no longer has. He could regenerate large amounts of health when unstoppable and dexing. By the way, I've used him quite a few times. Never knew this, never thought about this. This is literally news to me. But there might be quite a few people watching this where it's not news to you and you feel it the same way. Personally, I didn't even know that. This ability has been removed after the most recent patch, though there's been no word on it from Kabam. I call this a nerf because it's removed an existing piece of utility. Others would call it a bug fix because that utility probably wasn't intentional. For instance, it was never in his description. Regardless of what you call it, this is the exact same situation as what happened with Mole Man. Now, this is largely where I disagree. Mole Man's bug was well known for over a year, and Kabam said that they weren't going to do anything to it, and then they went back on their word. A far different scenario, objectively speaking, from the one that he's bringing up with Dragon Man. So I don't believe what he's saying is correct, but again, you can disagree with me. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm just reading the post. Kabam released characters eons later without the character being slotted for a change or even warranting one. They knocked them down a peg, leaving players stuck feeling duped over having invested resources in a character that no longer has what they once had in a piece of utility. In the case of Mole Man, Kabam gave out rank down tickets. I'm calling on them to make this right. Be consistent and do the same thing in this situation. Now, again, when I think of why I use Dragon Man, I think of three things. The double immunities, which is technically two things, by itself, and the cornered high damage utility. That's it. I don't think about regeneration. I don't think about how that factors into unstoppable and dexing. That's never come into my brain. But it's interesting to see who agrees and disagrees with this post. Is it Demons Fry? I've seen this guy on the post forum several times. Bugs are not utility. This isn't the same as Mole Man, as it's not something many knew of. Again, I certainly didn't know about it. Dark Raw 346. What a name. LOL. LOL. The Lightbringer. Yes, I want rank down tickets because I actually never used my 5-star Dragon Man. And I could use those resources on some other 6-star I have. Now, that's a completely different argument, right? If you've ranked up champions you no longer use, and the worst offense of this is people who took up champions and put so many 6-stones into what they thought would be a guaranteed top 5 prestige champ, and then Kabam came out with multiple prestige champs that knocked those top 5 off and kind of made them irrelevant to prestige, and you couldn't get those resources back. Those people have a way bigger argument for wanting rank down tickets than this particular forum post in my eyes. That's also why I have said for years, I'm going to say it again in this video, if Kabam just said every year we're going to give you one rank down ticket for the top 2 stars, 5 stars and 6 stars, and you have 3 days to use it or lose it, I think that would make people feel better about ranking up a champion knowing they may regret it later. I also think it's important, though, that that's the full rank down ticket equivalent of giving you an Awakening Gym and 6 stones back, and I realized it gets complicated because some people use Awakening Gyms on champions, some naturally awaken them. But I'm just saying, if I ran Kabam, I absolutely would do that. And I'm probably going to do a bigger video on that at some point, just not today. Again, regardless of what you call it, I'm only drawing a parallel between the current situation and the Mole Man situation, which I don't agree with the parallel. Comparison that is obvious and accurate. Now, this is where it gets kind of assuming. You know what they say about assuming. Because if you say the comparison is obvious and accurate, and yet many people are disagreeing with you, maybe it's not so obvious or accurate. Just throwing that out there. Mole Man's bug was widely known and quite obvious. It was talked about for a year. Your post yesterday was the first I and most have ever heard of the bug. They're not the same by any stretch. I find it absolutely ridiculous that you know he was bugged and you expect compensation for abusing a bug this entire time instead of reporting it. So that is, of course, the other side of the coin and the other side of the argument. And then it starts to get kind of ugly because you can say, so you're saying there's a difference of scale. More people abused the Mole Man bug. That made it valid. How does that make any sense? The fact is Kabam allowed their characters to be punished and played a certain way for years and then let the subset of players holding the bag when they finally decided to get around to fixing. Also, super presumptuous of you. I did report it, and you should kick rocks. Now, I have a great summoner and loyal supporter channel named Kick Rocks, but I don't think that's why he's called Kick Rocks. I'll have to ask him tonight on the stream if he's there. But then over a year passed, and Kabam had left it in. I waited over 1/6 the lifespan of the game. That's the most random statistic I've seen on a forum post. At the time to rank him, the utility made Dragon Man a fun character to play, so I ranked him. Should I have waited another year to do that? Biding my time in case Kabam finally got around to it? How about 2 years? When does it end? Look, part of me thinks, Prof, you should wrap up this video. And then part of me thinks, let's just read a little bit more into this banter because it's kind of like when you're sitting in the corner outside your old schoolhouse and you see 2 kids yelling at each other and you know you should probably go get the teacher and you probably also want some popcorn, but you're not involved, so you're just going to kind of lean against the fence and see where this goes. Kabam acknowledged Mole Man's bug. Have been working on a fix. I never had this Dragon Man bug on their radar. You should always know that any bug can get fixed anytime, and expecting compensation is dumb. Then we have more comments. Bug was discussed publicly and ignored many times. People had publicly asked and made subsequent videos. Okay, it was ignored. This bug here, others hadn't heard until recently was something. It's never a reason someone suggested ranking him. Exactly. Nobody ever said rank up Dragon Man because of this bug. At least not that I saw. I have Dragon Man at rank 3 and I use him fairly regularly and I never knew that this existed. I think I'm in the same boat as a lot of players here. I realize that it's annoying. Something like this happens with 2 obvious parallels. We draw here a Mole Man and She-Hulk. She-Hulk's nerf for something that completely changed the way you played her. Dragon Man with his utility is still outside the top 10. Spidey Funko just says, nope. Thorkey comes back and says, man, you just aren't admitting the facts. This was Mole Man's utility. It was not intentional, so then it was a bug. And people get mad that Kabam changed the character so late in the game, right? So I'm not mad about the exact same situation I rhetorically just asked about. Okay, so this thing, we could have a 30-minute video if we read all these posts. That is not why my channel exists, and that's not why I am covering this. But I do want to show you that there are a lot of opinions on this, and it is very passionate, as is the case with multiple pages of this post. Bottom line is this. I think the comparison is bad. I don't think Kabam is going to give rank down tickets. I didn't even know this bug existed, but this just shows that when somebody is passionate about somebody, they're going to make a post about it, and if it gets enough traction, it's going to become a community-wide debate. Hence the purpose of this video and this forum post. Have a good one.